Order was 666.
Why is this going on?
You should have got a munchkin.
Please, dear God, protect us. No, why? This is the third time and nobody's in that room. That's why the patients are... 1:45. Listen, talk to the person, tell them to go to bed. No, talk to the person, tell them to go to sleepy.
Get out of here. No, go to bed.
Oh my God.
Dude, go to sleep. It's 1:45 in the morning.
She did tell the ghost. Go. You know what? I think they're upset because there's no patients in this room.
No, Peggy's probably dead.
The lights went off.
Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. Happy hump day. I apologize for not being on camera today, but I hope you guys are doing well. It is hump day. We are almost to the weekend, y'all. While you're here, go ahead and show your girl some love as always by liking the video and hitting subscribe if you are feeling the vibe. Those interested in remote work or know someone interested in remote work, I have a personal channel where I post remote work weekly. And I have story time, vlog, all of that personal stuff is on my personal channel. And on Fridays, we do non-incoming call based positions on non-phone Fridays. So I will link my personal channel in the comments below for those who are inquiring about remote work. We are going to continue, as always, the wonderful, spooky / witchcraft / spell stories. But these are going to be particularly spooky stories. I seen that you guys loved the hospice spooky stories, which were real stories told by nurses. Now we're going to look into some nursing home stories told by caregivers / nurses. So without further ado, go ahead and watch it. It's not going to be a very long video. It's going to be a few stories, and then I'll be back at the end for a short commentary.
You cannot tell me that nursing homes are not haunted. If you've ever worked in one, you know what I'm talking about. One of the nursing homes I worked at was not a good place. It was not a good environment to be in. And so I think a lot of the people who had passed away there were disgruntled on the other side. So all night long, sometimes if it was a full moon or if it was storming outside, you can hear them. You can hear them walking down the hall. Sometimes they would bang on the wall. Sometimes things would just fall over for no reason. And we were really used to it at that point. Another time, a lady had her covers up over her, and I said, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And she was like, "My husband's in the bed with me." Well, he had passed away years ago. And I said, "Well, what is he doing in the bed with you?" And she was like, "He came to get me. He's taking me home." And I said, "Okay." And sure enough, the next morning, she was gone. And then there was a time that there was a guy who was all the way at the end of the hall, and he stayed in his bed most of the time. Whenever we got him up, we had to have assistance getting him out of the bed. He never wanted to move out of his bed. Well, this particular night, he kept ringing his call light. And when I finally got down there, he had gotten himself out of the bed and was in his wheelchair and was trying to wheel himself out of the room. So I said, "What is going on?" And he said, "That lady won't stop coming in here, and I don't want her in here." And I said, "What lady?" And he was like, "The one over there in the corner." And I looked and, of course, didn't see anyone. And so I said, "Well, who is it?" And he said, "You know, the blonde from across the hall." Well, the lady across the hall had been on hospice care for a couple of weeks, and we had been checking on her every hour on the hour. So I was like, can't be her. But sure enough, my coworker and I walked in there to check on her. She had gone on to glory. And I guess she must have wanted to say goodbye to him before she left.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go first.
So I guess TikTok doesn't want to hear my scary story, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. I can't stitch the other video. I'm going to try to figure out how to stitch it. But anyway, one last time, I've tried to record this thing 5 times and I'm at work. So my scary story is I worked at a nursing home that was a Catholic nursing home. And I always worked 2nd floor, 3rd shift. With my nurse, her name was Vanessa. For the story, that's her name. This particular night, I come in, they're like, "You and Vanessa are working on the 3rd floor." So I'm like, cool, no problem, whatever. So we go upstairs, we're working, da-da-da-da. I say, "Hey, Vanessa, I'm finna take a break. I'm going downstairs." Now I take the back stairs because it's quicker than the elevator. It takes you right downstairs to the front lobby. Vending machines is right there. Boom. Plus I need to exercise. This particular night I take the back stairs from the 3rd floor, thinking nothing of it. I get somewhere that's not the 1st floor lobby where the vending machines are. It is a room, it looks like. So I'm standing on the stairs. Everything in front of me is black. This black. I look to the left, black. I look to the right, black. Only thing different was there was a light, a door, and the window had a light like from the outside, and above it had an exit sign, red exit sign. So I'm like, so boom, if I jump down off these stairs and dart to that door, your girl, I'll be somewhere, but I won't be here. Because mind you, the only light behind me was the light from the stairwell. The moment I decided I was going to step down, it was like the room got heavy. Some overwhelming, not nice, not happy, unpleasant feeling came over me. And again, I can't see nothing in front of me. I can't see nothing. All my brain said was, run. I flew up them stairs so goddamn fast. I get back to the 3rd floor. I'm hollering, Vanessa, Vanessa, Vanessa. She's like, what, Cam, what? So she's there with another nurse. We're going to call him Kevin. And Kevin is there, and I'm telling them, and I'm all out of breath. I'm like, what's behind me? Something was chasing me up the stairs. Da 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 da. They're like, well, calm down, Cam, calm down. So Kevin was like, oh, you were down in the convent. Now, I had worked at this place for like 8, 9, 10 months. Ain't never known the convent to be in the building. I went to work and I left. I didn't care about everything else. I figured that the nun convent was somewhere else, and then when they got old and decrepit, they came to the nursing home. But whatever, you know. Yeah, and Kevin, he got to telling us some really strange things about that convent and then that nursing home and them nuns and things around there. And I just was like, but he was like, I'm not surprised that there's a presence. And yeah, and maybe when I came down there, I walked up on something that I wasn't supposed to walk up on, but I couldn't see. But nonetheless, yeah, that was my that's my scary story. And to this day, I don't work 3rd shift no more. I don't give a damn. Nope.
So a few years ago, I worked in this nursing home. I worked on a dementia floor, so things were pretty chaotic to begin with. If you've ever worked with dementia patients, you know what I'm talking about. This one particular day, I was working overnight, and when I arrived, I was going to each of my patients' rooms to read their report from the day. This one patient I had, she was completely bedridden. You had to lift her. She's pretty small though, so I could always do it myself. So when I got to her room, she's laying on the floor beside her bed. And my first thought is like, oh my God, she fell out of bed. So I went over to her and I was like, Miss Blank, like, are you okay? Like, what happened? Did you fall? And she said, oh no, honey, the man put me here. So I thought that she meant the male nurse that was there that day. So I went out to the nurse's station and I was like, why did you put her on the floor? Kind of weird. It's a little strange. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I told him, I was like, she said that a man put her on the floor. You are the only man here. And he's like, I did not put anybody on the floor. So I went back into her room, and again, she was a very tiny lady. I was able to get her up and into her bed by myself, and I finished doing what I needed to do and left the room. A few hours went by, like around midnight. I was doing my rounds again just to check on everybody, and I heard her talking in her room. It's not like uncommon for dementia patients to be like talking to themselves, you know, but I stopped by her door to listen to what she was saying, and I heard her say, no, I can't get out of bed again. They'll get mad. Immediately, just chills everywhere. So then I went around the corner to look into her room, and she is like hovering above her bed, like this much. And as soon as it's only for like 2 seconds, and as soon as I look at her, she drops down to the bed. And needless to say, that was my last shift at that nursing home. I literally never returned. And I have a lot more stories about that nursing home. That was just like the last straw. What made me quit. But if you want to hear more about what happened there, let me know.
Nurses have it hard enough taking care of living, breathing patients, but when they have to take care of those that aren't with us anymore, that's a whole other level of commitment. And that's exactly what happened to one of my followers. Let me read you her story. I'd been working at the nursing home for about 6 months at this point, so I thought I was pretty well used to everything and had seen just about anything and everything that I could possibly see at this point, but boy was I wrong. I'd been working seconds up until this point, but one of the women on third shift was on maternity leave and they asked me if I could fill in. I didn't have any kids and I was single, so I thought, why not? What else was I doing? They warned me that things might be a little different on third shift. I thought that might mean maybe patients acted differently throughout the night. I didn't know that they meant paranormal stuff. They warned me that I may see patients that were no longer there. I thought they were exaggerating, just trying to scare the new girl. Technically, I'd been there 6 months, but I was still the newbie compared to everyone else, so I laughed it off. I didn't think much of it. My third night is when everything went crazy. I had a patient buzz my room. I go in to check on her. She had had an accident. I told her no big deal. We'll get her cleaned up. It was fine. After I got her cleaned up, I set her in her chair and then I went to the linen closet to get new bedding for her. When I came back, she was gone. Now, I just cleaned this woman up. I knew that I'd just cleaned her up. I knew that I'd left her in her chair. But then I also didn't know if maybe she had some kind of form of dementia or something, so I looked everywhere for her. I searched the closets. I searched the hallways. I couldn't find her anywhere. I started to panic and decided that it was time to go find another nurse to see if they could help me look for her. So I went into the nurse's station and asked if they had seen Mrs. Stevens. Immediately, one of the other nurses turned around and said, "Who did you say?" I told her Mrs. Stevens that I was starting to panic because I had just cleaned her up. I told her everything that had happened and I went looking for her and I couldn't find her anywhere. I saw the color drain from her face and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in so much trouble. She said, "Who told you to tell me this? Did Barry tell you this? Did Barry put you up to this?" I'm confused because I hadn't talked to Barry and I had no idea what she was talking about. And then I was starting to kind of get a little pissed off because I had lost a patient and she's accusing me of some kind of something. I don't even know at this point. So I asked her, "What is your problem? Why are you doing this? I need help finding Miss Stevens. Are you going to help me or not?" She looks me dead in my face and says, "Miss Stevens died 3 months ago. I was the one that helped her after she had an accident. I set her in the chair just like you told me you did. I came back and she had passed away." I look at her and I say, "Are you telling me that patient that I just cleaned up is a deceased patient?" She said, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. No one has been in that bed since. If you haven't noticed, we don't have many patients here right now. That patient that you helped passed away 3 months ago." Needless to say, that was the last night that I worked thirds at that nursing home. And I don't blame her. Have you guys ever had anything happen to you like this? Are you a nurse? Have you ever had to deal with a patient that's not even there anymore? That's wild.
The comment got lost in the flood of comments on my video about me getting fired, but somebody said, since you have worked in the nursing homes, you have to have ghost stories. Please tell me the ghost stories. I do have ghost stories. I have many ghost stories. I'll tell you one in this video. This one was scary, but also kind of endearing. While it was terrifying, it also brought me a little bit of comfort that our loved ones are still around. So I was working a 16-hour shift, 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. It was in Plain City, Ohio, out by Der Dutchman, if you know where that is. So very country, very out there, at nighttime. And I was the only aide. The unit was very small. It was a memory care unit. I only had, I think, like maybe 7 residents, which was nothing. Actually, that place was really nice. But because there was not a lot to do and it was assisted living, you do help them with laundry. So if there's laundry to do, you do that. And everybody was in bed. The TV remote was broken, so it was stuck on Jeopardy. And this was before TikTok and everything, so I had nothing really to doom scroll. So I was sitting there watching Jeopardy at 1 a.m. and folding laundry. Well, one of the residents, the only male resident that I had, he kind of meandered on out to the living area and he said, "I'm looking for my wife." They had told me when I started working with this guy that they did not want him reoriented about his wife's passing, which happened like 3 years prior. They wanted us to tell him that his wife was at his sister-in-law's, that maybe like the snow was really coming down, she needed to be safe and she'd be home in the morning. So that's what I told him. I said, "Your wife is at her sister's And it was snowing that night. So I said, you know, look outside. The snow's really bad. She called and said that she's going to stay with her sister for the night and she'll be back in the morning when the roads are clear. And he was fine with that. He was like, okay, do you mind if I sit out here and just wait with you? I was like, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. You can wait out here. I'm just folding laundry. And he quickly drifted off to sleep on the couch across from me. So back to folding laundry and watching Jeopardy. That was how the night was going. He was out like a light, just... And then all of a sudden, he wakes up and he looks over at me and he goes, why didn't you tell me my wife was home? To which I replied, pardon? And he goes, I couldn't, my wife is home. Why didn't you tell me? I said, I didn't know that she was home. What do you mean you didn't know? She's sitting right next to you. I was like, is she now? Right next to me? Okay, well then I guess you can go to bed now since she's home safe. And he went to bed and fell asleep for the rest of the shift. And well, I had to take him to bed because he was a fall risk, but I took him to bed, put him in bed, tucked him in, patted his little head, and I was like, ma'am, I'm just here to help, which I think she understood that. But then I had to go back out into the waiting area and wait until 7 a.m. for the shift to be over. And it was snowing and a little bit blustery outside, so the door kept rattling because they had like a patio they could go out to. So the patio door kept rattling. It was stuck on Jeopardy, and that was a very rough night. It was very nice that his wife was still checking on him, but that one stuck with me. That one stuck with me. Let me know if you want to know more.
I really enjoy watching these kind of stories, and I just want to say, you know, try your best to do good in life, you know, like just try your best to do good. No, even if people have done you wrong, try your best to still do the right thing, you know, because when I hear these stories, some people I hear, you know, they have horror stories before they pass. Like I remember, I wonder if I can find it, I will post it as another video in the future. But I remember seeing a story where a man kept getting haunted every night. Like his family was at his house. I think it was her grandpa, a girl telling the story. And every night he would scream and he kept saying that there was a wolf attacking him in his sleep, y'all. And then he went on later to pass. But before he passed, every night it was a wolf attacking him, like a ghost wolf or whatever it was. And, you know, I think that it was because he done something wrong in the past or whatever. And then I also hear the peaceful stories before people pass of like their loved ones coming to get them, like a spouse or their mother or, you know, somebody, their grandmother coming to get them. And, you know, I don't know about y'all, but when I go, I want to go the right way. You know, I want somebody who I'm familiar with, you know, who loves me, who I love comforting to pass away, you know. I don't want no crazy horror stories like that, you know, so just try to do your best. I even heard stories of like, I think I posted it on this channel before, to where there was this man, his family was racist, and they unalived a black boy, if I'm not mistaken, and they buried his body. And back in the day, of course, nobody cared because he was colored, so nobody cared back in the day when it happened. But when it was time for him to pass, that same little boy kept visiting him before he passed, and he kept saying, and nurses was hearing him say, like, I don't know where it's at, like I told you where the body is, and like, you know, he was just saying stuff like this. And then he told the black nurse what happened or whatever, and then she said he ended up passing, and she ended up seeing in the mirror in front of after he passed, she went in his room, and then she saw in the mirror reflection a little black boy, and then he disappeared. So she was like, he was telling the truth this whole time. So again, y'all, just try to do right before you pass by people. Like try not even before you pass, just in general. You know, you want to try to live a high vibrational life, stay in the high frequency as much as possible, because then individuals will bother you from the low frequency, and because they have access to you. You're not spiritually protected because you're not doing things to spiritually cleanse yourself. You're not spiritually protecting your hygiene. You know what I mean? Your spiritual hygiene. So let me know if I have any caregivers, home health aides, or nurses that have had any experiences like that. I have worked in home health aid on all shifts, and I've never had an experience like that, but I'm interested to hear if any of you guys had any stories. Do you guys believe in it? Let me know. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I will see y'all on the next one.